The Bad Homburg Open was supposed to be a celebration. Tournament officials had spent weeks preparing for the arrival of the fastest rising star in women's tennis. Posters with Alex Eala's face covered the city. Her name dominated advertisements across Germany. Ticket campaigns centered around one idea, and one idea only: the Eala effect. It was no longer just hype. It was a phenomenon. Wherever Alex Eala played, stadiums filled. Fans traveled across continents. Television ratings exploded. Merchandise vanished within hours. Social media numbers shattered expectations. From Melbourne to Dubai, from Madrid to Birmingham, the 21-year-old Filipino sensation had become one of the biggest attractions in the entire sport. And the Bad Homburg Open believed she would transform their tournament into the hottest ticket of the grass court season. For a moment, it worked. Then everything collapsed in just 78 minutes. Because when Alex Eala lost to Elise Mertens in the first round, something happened that nobody inside the WTA wanted to talk about. The energy disappeared, the noise faded, and thousands of fans stopped showing up. What followed forced the tennis world to confront a brutal reality. The players who fill stadiums are not always the players holding the biggest trophies. And Alex Eala had just proven it again. Bad Homburg, Germany, June 2026. Inside the tournament office at TC Bad Homburg, organizers believed they had found the perfect formula. The event already had prestige. The venue was beautiful. The grass courts were historic. The tournament carried more than a century of tradition and offered one of the final opportunities for players to prepare before Wimbledon. But there was one problem: attendance. In an increasingly crowded grass court calendar, smaller WTA tournaments were struggling to compete for attention. Fans saved their money for Wimbledon. Sponsors focused on larger events. And unless a tournament had a genuine superstar in the draw, empty seats became almost unavoidable. Then Alex Eala's name became available. Fresh off her remarkable rise through the rankings, the Filipina had become one of the most talked about athletes in women's sports. Her underdog story resonated across the world. She carried an entire nation on her shoulders every time she stepped on court. Tournament organizers saw an opportunity. They awarded her a main draw wildcard. And immediately, everything changed. Ticket requests surged. Hotel bookings increased. Local Filipino communities across Germany began organizing group trips to the tournament. Social media engagement exploded. The official tournament pages received some of their highest traffic numbers in years. The Eala effect had arrived in Bad Homburg before Alex herself even landed in Germany. And then Berlin happened. Just days before the tournament began, Alex Eala produced the greatest grass court run of her young career at the Berlin Open. She defeated world number 2 Elena Rybakina. She stunned former world number 3 Alina Svitolina. She battled through emotional three-set wars that transformed Steffi Graf Stadium into a sea of Philippine flags. Fans screamed Laban after every point. Entire sections of the crowd wore blue, red, and yellow. The atmosphere no longer felt like Germany. It felt like Manila. By the time Eala arrived in Bad Homburg, the hype surrounding her had become impossible to ignore. She climbed to world number 30. She secured a historic Wimbledon seed, the first Filipina in history to earn a singles seeding at a Grand Slam. The momentum was enormous, and tournament organizers believed they were about to experience the biggest week in the event's history. Then came Elise Mertens. The Belgian veteran had seen this story before. She knew how dangerous Alex Eala could become if the crowd got involved early. She understood the energy surrounding the Filipina. And more importantly, she knew exactly how to dismantle her game, because she had already done it twice. Mertens had defeated Eala in Monastir. She had crushed her again in Madrid. And now, standing across the net in Bad Homburg, she looked determined to make it 3 straight victories. When the players walked onto center court, the atmosphere was electric. More than 2,500 fans packed the stadium. Philippine flags waved proudly across the stands. Fans leaned over railings hoping for autographs and photos. Television crews focused heavily on Eala during warm-ups. Everything about the tournament felt alive. This was exactly what organizers had envisioned. Then the match started. From the opening game, Mertens took control. Her precision was suffocating. Every left-handed angle Eala created was immediately neutralized. Every aggressive forehand was redirected with surgical accuracy. The Belgian moved effortlessly across the grass, forcing the Filipina into uncomfortable positions again and again. The crowd tried to lift Eala. They screamed after every winner. They exploded whenever she fought through long rallies. But Mertens refused to let the momentum shift. The first set disappeared quickly, 6-3. The second set followed the same script. Eala briefly fought back to level the score at 3-3, drawing loud cheers from the Filipino supporters scattered throughout the stadium. For a moment, it felt like the comeback might begin. Then Mertens slammed the door shut. 3 straight games. Clinical execution. No hesitation. One final backhand winner kissed the sideline, and suddenly it was over. 6-3, 6-3. 1 hour and 18 minutes. Silence spread through center court. The fans who had crossed oceans to watch their champion stood frozen in disbelief. Alex Eala walked toward the net with her head held high, but the disappointment on her face was impossible to hide. The tournament's biggest attraction was gone, and within hours, the consequences became impossible to ignore. The following morning, the atmosphere around Bad Homburg felt completely different. The energy that had surrounded the tournament vanished overnight. Ticket windows that had been crowded the day before suddenly sat empty. Entire seating sections remained unsold. Vendors reported slower traffic. The Philippine flags disappeared. The chants stopped. And tournament officials quietly realized something terrifying. The crowds had not come for the tournament. They had come for Alex Eala. The numbers told the story clearly. In Dubai, Eala's presence had helped generate a 48% increase in ticket sales. In Birmingham, more than 25,000 fans transformed a WTA 125 event into a sold-out phenomenon. At the Australian Open, fans were turned away from her first-round match because the court physically could not hold everyone trying to enter. At Indian Wells, her debut nearly shattered attendance expectations. And in Berlin, she had transformed one of Germany's most prestigious grass court tournaments into a worldwide spectacle. The pattern was undeniable. Wherever Alex Eala played, people showed up. But the key detail many organizers failed to understand was this. The Eala effect belonged to her. Not the tournament. Not the WTA. Not the venue. Her. Inside tournament headquarters, panic slowly replaced excitement. Sponsors expected packed crowds throughout the week. Broadcast partners anticipated sustained engagement. Instead, attendance dropped sharply after Eala's elimination. Even later-round matches involving established stars struggled to recreate the atmosphere she generated naturally. And perhaps the most painful part for organizers was this. They had already built their entire marketing campaign around her. Posters, advertisements, social media promotions, interviews. Everything centered on Alex Eala. When she left the tournament, the emotional connection left with her. No amount of branding could replace that. The tennis world noticed immediately. Photos of half-empty stands began circulating online. Fans compared the atmosphere before and after Eala's elimination. Sports analysts started asking uncomfortable questions about how the WTA measures player value. Because Alex Eala had just exposed a growing reality within women's tennis. Ranking alone no longer determined popularity. For decades, the WTA operated under a simple assumption. The highest-ranked players generated the biggest crowds. Grand Slam champions drove ticket sales. Established stars guaranteed attention. But Alex Eala broke that formula completely. She entered Bad Homburg ranked number 30 in the world. She had never reached the second week of a Grand Slam. She did not possess multiple major trophies. Yet her drawing power rivaled, and sometimes exceeded, players with far greater resumes. Why? Because fans connected with her story. They saw themselves in her journey. A young athlete from a developing tennis nation fighting against impossible odds. A player who carried the hopes of millions every time she stepped on court. A competitor who never stopped fighting, no matter the score. That emotional connection mattered more than statistics. and Bad Homburg learned that lesson the hard way. Inside WTA headquarters in St. Petersburg, Florida, executives reportedly reviewed attendance figures carefully after the tournament. The empty seats were impossible to ignore, because this was no longer just about one event. It was about the future of women's tennis. The governing body suddenly faced uncomfortable questions. Were traditional metrics outdated? Did ranking points truly measure a player's overall value? Was the sport failing to recognize the importance of emotional connection and fan engagement? Because Alex Eala's impact extended far beyond wins and losses. She inspired diaspora communities around the world. She attracted first-time tennis viewers. She created emotional investment in tournaments that previously struggled for attention. And perhaps most importantly, she made people care. That kind of connection is priceless. Tournament organizers eventually released polite public statements thanking fans for their support throughout the week. But behind closed doors, the reality was far harsher. Financial projections had changed dramatically after Eala's elimination. Attendance revenue declined. Concession sales dropped. Merchandise slowed. The tournament survived, but the lesson lingered painfully. Betting everything on one player carries enormous risk, especially when that player is Alex Eala. Meanwhile, the Filipina herself had already shifted focus. Just hours after the loss, she was back on the practice court preparing for Wimbledon. No excuses, no complaints, no public frustration, only work. That mentality only deepened the admiration surrounding her. Because while tournaments worried about finances and attendance, Eala remained focused entirely on improvement. She understood the challenge Mertens presented. The Belgian had now beaten her 3 consecutive times. Each defeat revealed something new, something she still needed to learn. And instead of running from those lessons, Eala embraced them. Later that week, reporters asked her about the disappointing result in Bad Homburg. Her response reflected the maturity that had made fans adore her. "Every match teaches me something," she said calmly. "I'm still learning. I'm still growing. Grass is a surface where experience matters a lot, and I know I still have work to do." No drama, no excuses, just honesty. That authenticity became another reason fans connected so deeply with her. She never pretended to be perfect. She never hid from losses. She simply kept fighting, and that fight resonated everywhere. Back in the Philippines, fans defended her passionately online. Social media filled with support messages. "She lost one match," one fan wrote, "but she already changed the sport forever." Another posted, "When Alex leaves, the crowds leave. That tells you everything." Even former players began discussing the larger implications of the Eala effect. Some argued that the WTA needed to market emotional storytelling more aggressively instead of relying purely on rankings. Others pointed to Eala as proof that global representation matters enormously in modern sports. The Philippines, a country without a deep tennis tradition, suddenly became one of the sport's most passionate emerging audiences because of one player. One athlete transformed an entire market. That kind of influence cannot be taught. It cannot be manufactured. And it cannot be ignored. By the time the Bad Homburg Open ended, the defining image of the tournament was no longer the trophy ceremony. It was the empty seats after Alex Eala's elimination. A visual reminder that modern sports economics are changing rapidly. Fans no longer support events blindly. They support stories, personalities, journeys. And right now, few stories in tennis feel more compelling than Alex Eala's rise. The 21-year-old from Quezon City had already accomplished something extraordinary. She forced one of the world's biggest sports organizations to reconsider how popularity is measured. Not through rankings, not through trophies, but through connection. And the connection between Alex Eala and her fans had become one of the most powerful forces in tennis. As Wimbledon approached, the attention surrounding her only intensified. The historic seeding, the grass court momentum, the heartbreak in Bad Homburg, the questions about whether she could finally defeat players like Mertens consistently. Everything combined into a perfect storm of anticipation. Because even after an early loss, the world still wanted to watch Alex Eala. That was the real story, not the defeat, not the empty seats. The fact that one player from the Philippines had become essential viewing for millions of people across the globe. And somewhere inside WTA headquarters, executives were likely beginning to understand something important. The future of tennis may not belong solely to the players with the biggest trophy collections. It may belong to the players who make people feel something, the players who inspire, the players who unite entire communities, the players whose absence can empty stadiums overnight. Alex Eala had become that player. The Eala effect was real, and now the entire sport was being forced to adapt around it. Wimbledon was next. The grass season continued, and whether tournaments were ready or not, the crowds would follow her again. Because Alex Eala was no longer just a tennis player. She was an event, a movement, a phenomenon, and the next chapter was only beginning. Laban always.